And he said he's introduced this project mindset to not just his family, but his whole team. He's got his people in his team doing half marathons and tough mudders and 24-hour workouts and all this crazy stuff. And he said he has this brotherhood that he's never had before in his life. At 57 years old, he's now connected with dudes from all races, all ages, young and old, from all over the country that never would have crossed paths in his little cubicle upstate New York. He never would have came across this. And it's just made him into this freaking monster. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the MDK Project Show. I'm Steve Eckert. This is Bedros Keuilian. We are the co-founders and instructors of the Modern Day Night Project. This is a show for men in search of meaningful transformations in their family, fitness, finances, and faith, so they can finally find some fulfillment in life, so they become even better husbands, fathers, leaders, and men. And this happens through the project, which has a significant level of adversity, suffering, and pain. And today we're going to talk about the success stories, some of the biggest success stories, just a few that come to the top of mind. We could be here for hours and hours if we talk about all the ones that we have. There's literally over 200 graduates now. But we're going to give some of the top success stories of graduates from the project. Bedros, what's some of the top men that come to mind when you think of success in the project?
Yeah, and it's funny we say success because oftentimes people equate money to success. But I'm going to kick it off with one of the first stories I'm going to kick off. It's not necessarily a money success. While this guy has financially been successful, success comes in many ways. In the way of finally maybe being able to get back in shape and stay in shape. Comes with maybe finally having peace of mind and no longer having depression, anxiety, and feeling overwhelmed all the time, not white knuckling through life. Success might come by the way of, we've seen so many guys rekindle their marriages, and we call them what? Project babies. Like
project
how many
babies? Yep.
Yeah, how many men have had project babies because they rekindled their relationships, their marriages, and fell back in love and went through the steps of dating their wives again. But this particular one I'm going to talk about is with one of our graduates. His last name is Farhat, and Farhat, man, it's so crazy. I'm gonna tell the story this way, and I think, was it class 7 that 7 or 8?
Somewhere 8 or 9, yeah.
It could have been even 8 or 9. All the class numbers kind of mushed together, and when we go through it with them, we're not sleeping either, so everything's a bit of a blur. But if y'all know, we put out a sizzle reel with every project class. Ed and the video team here do a great job capturing footage of the project class, and we put out a really cool sizzle reel for each class that kind of shows all the hardship that they went through. And of course, class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all these ones, we just never had any black dudes. We never had any African-American dudes go through the project. It's not like we were turning away their money. It's not like we, didn't want them to go through it. And so oftentimes we'd hear in the comments, where's all the black dudes? Where's all the brothers? How come brothers aren't going through it, right? How come you guys aren't showing the brothers? And I would always be like, well, why don't you apply for it, pay for it, and come do it? Well, as luck would have it, this particular class, either 6, 7, or 8. No, it wasn't 6, so it was probably 7, 8, or 9. We had 2 black dudes sign up. And it was awesome, man. We have this class. And for those of you watching and listening to this, you got to understand the way our instructors have our candidates line up, it's always tallest to shortest. And we do that because when they're carrying the logs, you want a group of the short guys carrying a log so the log is straight as possible. You want a group of the tall guys carrying a log. If you have a tall guy up front and a short guy in the back, the log's going to be slanted one way or another. So usually the entire 75 hours, you're stuck with whoever's to your left or to your right until they quit, ring the bell, or not. And so this particular guy, Farhat, he was literally in between the 2 black guys, Flowers and Eubanks, right? And it's funny, we just talked about Flowers another time.
Flowers.
Yeah, the guy that gave you Flowers. This Flowers is actually his last name. A black dude named Flowers and a black dude named Eubanks. And in between, because of the height factor, is this guy named Farhat. And he's not black. And so during this experience called the toxic cognition, because not every evolution that we do is physical and, pulling trucks, ice bath, crawling. A lot of it is, in fact, journaling and deep work and kind of working through your traumas. When he came to the point of talking about the trauma that he had experienced that was limiting his human experience, he was 5 or 6 years old, Farhat. Now, keep in mind, guys, myself, Steve, and all the other instructors are sitting here in one side of the room. Across from us, There's a long table of the candidates sitting across from us, and they have their journals. We have our journals, and it's the 5 of us instructors, and usually 12 to 15 of those guys, and one at a time, they're kind of going through what they journaled. And he goes, well, the worst memory that I've ever had in my life, I was 5 years old, and my mom and I were coming from the grocery store. My mom was about to unlock the door to the house, and as we were about to go in with the groceries, this dude shows up with a gun and says, hey, give me all your money, give me all your shit, or I'm going to shoot you. Mom goes to give him all the money and stuff anyway. He still ends up shooting mom. The guy with a gun was a black dude, African-American guy, obviously a bad person, no matter what he was. But for the context of the story, was a black dude. And he had a gun, and he shot mom. And mom, if I believe correctly, we ended up on a wheelchair, right? She was in a wheelchair, and from the age of 5, now Farhat is tending to her, taking care of her, looking out for her. And so as he's telling the story, to his left and to his right are 2 black dudes. I'm getting goosebumps telling the story right now because up until this point, we had never gotten a black guy to sign up for the project. Now, this guy's worst memory in life was seeing his mom shot by a bad guy who happened to be black. And if you know anything about the project, you won't get through any evolution ever by yourself. Every evolution requires you to work as a team. And to work as a team, you have to work with the guys to your left and to your right, who are usually your height. And so I remember both Flowers and Eubanks, the 2 black dudes, to his left and to his right, would help him and motivate him, inspire him. Dude, you got it. You can do it. Keep running. Keep carrying the log. Keep doing your thing. That's how the Brotherhood is built. Through suffering, men develop a bond and a connection together. So he's telling this story, and he's like got this anger and this rage towards like black dudes, yet he's looking to his left and right, and he puts his arms on his shoulders, on their shoulders, and he just starts crying. And we all fucking start breaking down because in that moment, he realized the project is works beyond us. It's right. I mean, we'd all agree there's something divine about the project where those 2 black dudes, Eubanks and Flowers, needed to be there. They needed to be that height for Farhat to be sitting in between, and then Farhat needed to experience 2 loving, 2 awesome, 2 deeply connected brothers in every sense of the word, supporting him. And literally we saw healing take place in that moment, that it's not an issue of a black dudes are bad. It's an issue of that black dude who shot your mom is bad. And these 2 dudes are really fucking awesome. And of course they all graduated, which was just fucking awesome. But talk about a success story. Like we couldn't manufacture that if you tried. And to me, that's far beyond making millions of dollars, far beyond improving a relationship. What happened there was true healing of a man's heart.
And I don't know if you know this, but Farhat just got married. I think kind of since he graduated, he married a black chick.
No, I didn't know that she was a black chick.
Oh.
I was going to say, it's just like Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. He did get married, but it wasn't a black chick.
Then we didn't do our job right.
Yeah, we fucking failed.
If we had done better, he would have married a black woman.
Imagine he married, that would have been even better, the story.
I would have.
My first story that I can think of is Ken Burke. At the time, he was our oldest graduate. He graduated at 57 at the time. And since we've had an older graduate, which I'll get to next, but he was just from upstate New York, this old, skinny, unathletic, white accountant, pencil-pushing nerd with 0 athletic ability, 0 fire left in his belly for life. And he was losing connection with his family, with his kids, with his new grandkids and grandkids that were on the way. And since then, since the project, I don't know if you've ever seen the tattoo on his arm. He texted me today just to remind me because I was telling him about this show we were doing. It's a picture of all of them running up the hill. It's first the crest of the project, then an actual photo that we took of his whole group running up the hill.
Shit.
And then his number on the bottom. I'll put up when I have a chance to show you because he just sent this thing today. It's freaking nuts. And he's got this tattoo, this massive tattoo of his whole class on his arm, running up the hill. It's fucking nuts. A 57-year-old dude now has this massive tattoo covering his arm with the skull and cross axes. Rad. And he said because of the project, he is now. His business was able to come through the whole Corona bullshit that it wouldn't have if he didn't have the resilience, emotional discipline to be able to deal with the chaos that was going on with the Coronas. That allowed him to get through it. And he said he's introduced this project mindset to not just his family, but his whole team. He's got his people in his team doing half marathons and tough mudders and 24-hour workouts and all this crazy stuff. And he said he has this brotherhood that he's never had before in his life. At 57 years old, he's now connected with dudes from all races, all ages, young and old, from all over the country that never would have crossed paths in his little cubicle upstate New York. He never would have came across this.
Yeah.
And it's just made him into this freaking monster. And he's gotten his family to embrace all these ideals of the project, and they're just all on board. He's like a little local living legend up there in upstate New York in his little white neighborhood. But he's said he told his wife before he was leaving, he said, I'm either coming back as a beast, a bitch, or in a fucking body bag. And he certainly came back as a motherfucking beast at 57 years old, as the oldest project. Let me pull this up quick.
And a damn good one, too.
Look at that tattoo.
Dude, in fact, Maine, if we can,
his entire
that is
arm.
so rad. Maine, if we can get this picture kind of embedded into the video on YouTube, that'd be awesome, man. But that is amazing. Look at that. They're charging up the hill, and of course the crest at the very top. Class 08. I love that.
That is fucking awesome.
And, to that point, I mean, here's a guy, he's a financial advisor, financially did well, but in every other capacity, like life had gotten muted for him, with the wife, with the kids, in life in general.
He was done. He was going to ride it out till the death.
Yeah. And not only did his business improve after the project, even more, but his relationships, everything came back to life. It's almost like he got a shot of adrenaline. He's been riding that for years now since the project. Which I love. And at the time, like you said, he was our oldest graduate. Now our oldest graduate is 60-year-old. Yeah. So now let's actually shift gears from our oldest graduate to our youngest graduate.
Yeah, what a freak.
What a freak, man. Lucas Delvo. And I remember being a little bit reluctant when he signed up. Well,
if you remember at the time, it was 21 years old was the limit.
Yeah.
I spoke to him on the phone, and he was on the edge and needed it. And when I told him he had to be 21, he was only 18 when he actually signed up.
Right.
And he showed up when he was 19. He was devastated. I mean, his voice was crushed, like his life was over. And I remember sending all the other instructors a quick text. I said, hey, guys, how about we change the rule from 21 to 18? If you could be 18 to go in the military. I said, I have this kid who fucking needs this desperately, and you all have to give a thumbs up. And I called him back 30 minutes later. He was fucking through the roof, and he saved up for like a year and a half to be able to pay for this shit because he wasn't making any money at the time.
Right. And which is funny, right? Because I guess at the time we thought about, well, all right, you got to be 21 to go through the project, have a little bit of some emotional maturity, et cetera. But this goes to show you, man, that if you really want something bad enough, some people are like old souls, and Lucas Delvo is definitely an old soul. Like he's a guy that's almost like come back, lived a life, and come back again. Signs up at 18. You advocate for him, and so he does the project. You obviously have a great gut in that. At 19, he does the project, powers through it, and today he's got a YouTube channel, he's got a podcast, he's self-employed, he's in a position where now he's paying it forward to the young generation below him who would look up to him in terms of, hey, how do I become self-employed? How do I take control of my own financial future? And I mean, what is he now? 22, 23 years old?
Maybe.
Not even that. But we saw him at BK Live just this past weekend. I was like, Lucas, how's it going? He's like, man, never better. Everything's just freaking awesome. And he stayed a few extra days. He texted me. He goes, hey, do you mind if I work out at BK Strength? I'm like, yeah, man, here's the code. Go work out. But it's a great example that age doesn't matter. Whether you're 60 or whether you're 19 like him, the project will work if you trust the process and stay through that 75 hours and don't give in to your inner bitch voice that wants to negotiate the quit. Things always in life get hard, and you do want to quit at some point, but it's if you choose not to negotiate with that inner bitch, that critic, and you listen to the advocate, you'll find yourself on the other side a much better human.
And he's also a great example of we would always get guys talking about the project. Oh, it's so expensive. It's just for rich old white guys who are millionaires and just regret never going into the military. But here you have a fucking 18-year-old that saved up for a year and a half because he knew he needed to do it. And I just saw on social media, just like the last couple of days, he just had his first $100,000 year, his first six-figure year at like 20 years old when he was
what a gangster.
Dead broke. He was doing like Uber Eats and all this other shit just to put money together to show up to the project. Yeah. But then we'll have 35-year-old dudes saying, "Oh, this is just for rich old white dudes. This is not for the regular guy." But it's just fucking excuses.
I was going to say, you know what it is? When you want something bad enough, you find reasons to get it. When you decide that you don't want it bad enough, you find excuses why you won't.
And another example of that is Voshal, Jared Voshal.
Yes.
He's a blue collar worker working as a lineman, and I talked to him today, and he broke down his whole story today. It's fucking crazy. He was it started in August of 2021, and his, at the time, fiance made some poor decisions that he ended up breaking up with her, and it didn't work out.
You can imagine what those bad decisions were.
She might have done, and he was just sad and depressed and didn't know what to do. He quit his job because he was so depressed, was now out of work and didn't know where to go, went to the doctor. All they did is pumped him full of a bunch of fucking drugs and prescription medication. And he saw the ad for the project. He just knew it was something that he needed to do. Then he had another girlfriend. Right before he came to the project, he found out that this one was doing some unsavory fucking acts behind his back. Use your fucking imagination about what was going on. So this is all, he just started drinking and drinking every day, and actually showed up to his first time showing up to the project. Remember, he got med rolled his first time.
That's right.
It was pretty late into it.
Yeah.
And he said you gave him some advice because he did his 302 in 74 minutes that first time.
Yeah.
And he said you broke it down for him, told him we're going to invite him back because we med dropped him. He just needed to, you were only going to let him come back if he lost 30 pounds and got under 45 minutes for his 302. He came back his next class, 2 classes later, 6-8 months later, he got it to like 30 something minutes for his 302. And now he just said he's just an absolute fucking savage. He's just showing up in all areas of his life. And he said he could remember crawling through the pit that second time, and for a split second was starting to doubt himself. And he had that major breakthrough that he knew he had now important people in his life and kids that he saw in a whole different light as he cut and trimmed the fat in his life after that first class. And the breakthroughs, he even had breakthroughs in that first class from the time he was there. That even changed his life. And when he came back, he learned that he needed to rely on his brothers and the brothers in the project. And that's what got him through it. Not trying to be an asshole, be solo, be on his own, relying on his brothers. And since then, he's focused on the gym and his own personal development. He spends more time with his kids than anyone. He's working on, he's clearing up all his debt and finances. He's working on investment properties. And this is a lineman, a line worker who's just out there in the fucking trenches doing like manual labor. He's made now tons of friends that he's never made before. Obviously in the Brotherhood, I've seen him doing these long, like 30, 40 mile like rucks with different guys in the project. And when he first came, he was a loose, jiggly motherfucker. Now the dude's got fucking abs. He went through battle ready and lost 30, 40 pounds before he came to the second class. He's just fucking killing it. Every time I talk to him, it's just a new level of energy and excitement. You can feel it through his voice about where he is. He says he wouldn't be the man today if it wasn't for the project and the instructors of the project who just taught him how to manage his time better, how to be the man he's supposed to fucking be, how to stop holding shit back and letting his past define his fucking future. He was holding on to that shit.
He was a king of that, man. He would constantly let the anchors of the past drag him down, man. And I remember one conversation we had about that was like, you know, obviously his choices and the women that he chose. And so this new woman that he's with, now his fiance, an awesome human being. I got to do he reached out to me one time. He's like, hey man, you know, my fiance has this business. She's thinking about just quitting it, shutting it all down and going back to having a job. I was like, before she does that, why don't I just coach you guys up for an hour on a Zoom? You know, let's schedule a Zoom. And I had Joan schedule a Zoom for them. And, you know, just kind of gave her some advice, some input. And he literally, this is so weird that we're talking about him today. Yesterday, he texted me and he's like, dude, you're not going to believe this. Instead of folding her business, she went out and put more bids out in one of our local cities, because it was some bid. Her company does something for cities. I forget what it is, but she got a contract for $150,000 from one city. Just yesterday, he texted me that. And I'm like, dude, what a difference between, again, throwing in the towel or going one more time, just one more time. And he even said that the same girl that he's with now was they went to school together since the 6th grade. Yeah. And that was like the one he always had the crush on in high school, but never had the confidence, was always just too sloppy and drinking. He was drinking every day since graduating the project. He hasn't had a sip of alcohol, completely dropped it, focusing on fitness. And he said, literally said the project saved his fucking life. Like, he was at the end of the road. He was done. Dude, that part's funny too, right? You and I talk about this all the time when guys are like, oh, how do I get this kind of a girl? How do I get a girl who's a 9 or a 10 and, you know, a traditional woman, and she has to be fit and she has to be hot and has to be, that has to have what it takes to be a good mom. Like, how about instead of trying to get her, how about you become the man who would naturally attract her
and deserves her and is someone's going to want, who the fuck's you want all this shit, but look at you, you're a fucking slob.
A slob.
But you're demanding all this other shit.
Exactly. And he changed changes himself, because he knew long ago, I mean, shit, he went to elementary school with her or high school with her, with who is now his current fiance. But because he knew that she had higher standards, that she probably wouldn't go for him, he went for lower quality women who then betrayed him and backstabbed him. And once he changed his life after the project, he had the confidence to actually talk to her, and she found that, I'm attracted to this guy. It's not by accident. It's because he elevated to a place where he's now a magnet for 9s and 10s. It's as simple as that.
This one just ends with another bad story. He did send me a message today, said that she ended up going the same route as the first 2 girls, and now she's done the same thing.
You're full of shit. Unless that happened today, because just yesterday. Wouldn't that be funny though? Like same with the marrying the far hat married the black girl. That's right. Like, just shit,
kidding,
man.
Just kidding.
We can't get any wins around here.
What the fuck?
Yeah. By the way, if you guys are like, what kind of twisted humor is that? This is the humor, and this is like very, very clean version of the humor that happens for 75 hours.
Would that be fucked up if he messaged us tomorrow and is like, you ain't gonna believe it, this fucking bitch.
I found her with the dick in her mouth. What do I do? Fuck, bro, just don't get engaged anymore. That's what you do.
Gay. Just become gay at this point.
Become gay, find a dude, you're gonna be good to go. You could attract a 9 or a 10 anyway, because you're still in great shape. But thankfully, everything's worked out for him. One more person that I want to talk about, and this is on the financial side of success, because I do want to showcase all levels of success here that the guys have had. Andy Foe. Like Andy Foe.
What a freak, yeah.
What a freaking freak. He was a tattoo artist, paid rent, worked at a place, and was a tattoo artist, good at what he did, and never really had the confidence to go out on his own and to think that he could start his own tattoo shop. Went through the project, and the way I met him was, I was getting my tattoo at that same place. He ended up recognizing me because of my book. He had read my book, Man Up. And so, we're having some side conversations while I'm getting a tattoo, and he comes up and talks to me, et cetera. And I tell him about the project. He's like, yeah, I know about it, and I'm kind of curious about it. And at the time, like your typical tattoo artist, kind of soft, kind of a pothead,
Oh, the
tree-hugging hippie, whatever, right?
He was like the fattest skinny kid you ever met.
Yeah.
Like just weak as fuck. Like, holy shit, slow.
And he was, and it was part of Class 5. And this guy now, you fast forward, he owns Upside Tattoo in Austin. 3 of his tattoo artists who work for him have graduated the project, including his
Have you been to his place in Austin?
No, I plan on going.
I was out there a couple months ago and I saw it. It's my kids were never been to a tattoo shop. They were expecting like all the bikers and smoking cigarettes and just hookers and shit hanging around, because that's what my kids are expecting when they go to tattoo shops.
Look at the dad.
Hookers and crackheads and shit. It's like it's like nothing you ever seen before. It is like flips the tattoo industry on its fucking head. Like the highest level. They do full consultations with it. It's fucking nuts in there. They all have their stations on the floor. They move chairs. It was nuts. We did it. We got there. It happened to be in the morning. They started the day off with this. We're sitting on the chair doing this whole like gratitude circle together. It was fucking awesome.
Dude, how rad is that? Like he not only had enough confidence to go, you know what? I could start my own business and my own tattoo studio. But he did it in a way that fit his new personality.
So I'm going to do it my way. Like, you got to see this.
Exactly.
It looks like a yoga studio or a spa, but then with a tattoo edge to it. It's fucking nuts.
That's so rad. And then beyond that, you've seen him recently. Jacked.
Fucking ripped. Just jacked training.
Does 599 burpees every single morning, and does it on a Zoom with people in his little tribe that he's created, because he wants that public accountability.
What's the 599? I'm just curious.
I have no idea why it's 599.
Everyone's got their fucking quirks. I was curious.
I keep meaning to text him and be like, bro, can you just do one 600, more? Do 600. You're fucking with my OCD right now by doing 599, but it's 599. I'm sure there's a reason. I should probably text him and find out. But to that point, you've mentioned the 302 a couple of times now. And for those of you who don't know what the 302 is, why don't you describe the 302 and what it is?
It's just a physical fitness test they need to pass in under a certain amount of time to say that they're even qualified or even have a chance to get through the project. They need to make it through a certain amount of time. It's a 1 mile run, then 3 different exercises of 100 reps each, and another 1 mile run as a pretty much a qualifier to get in. And they do it in the first hour when they show up to prove that they've been training. And we have guys sometimes that show up and don't even pass that when they show up.
Right. I think we had a guy when the vans went to pick them up, so the way it works is right around 12:30 on Tuesday afternoon, vans go to pick them up and we hood them, frisk them, hood them, make sure they have no weapons or anything on them. And one guy was like smoking a cigarette. We should have added this to the
funny one. You just made me think of another one I didn't even think of.
Yeah,
Awesome.
But the dude was like smoking a cigarette, I heard, right before you guys went to pick him up. And then when he was doing the 302 and he was just gassed, like I don't think he made it past the 302. We had to send him back home. I was like, bro, you smell like cigarette. He goes, yeah, I literally quit about an hour and a half ago. Like, you stopped smoking an hour and a half ago. You're going to go through this like massive desire to smoke during the project.
What a dumb fuck.
Yeah. Talk about poor planning. Yeah. What else do you have on the list? Do you have anything else?
The last one I have that comes to mind is, so Burke was our oldest at the time at 57. Then he was pissed when he heard that he got beat out by a 60-year-old. Right. Someone said to me just at your event, they asked what the oldest person was, if they were too old. This guy was 38 and said he was already on the decline and didn't think he could do the project. Jeez. I'm like, you're fucking 38. I'm 45. You're 49.
Yeah, easy. Not quite 50, 49.
50-something.
60-something.
He started like he's at the end of his rope at 38, like he's on the downslope of life.
No, man.
He asked, what's the oldest guy that came through? I said 60. He said, oh, she goes, you beat up on a 6-year-old? I'm like, beat up? This motherfucker was a savage.
Yeah.
He came through. He said this, it was just last year, just June of 2022 that he went through. He said it's completely changed the entire trajectory of his life at 60. Imagine that. Like 60, you're an old, and he was an old.
You're beyond half of your life at that point.
He was an old school, old crusty bastard. Like he was set in his ways, kind of a dick.
Yeah.
And now he's the most, it's just changed dramatically, mentally, physically, emotionally. I don't know if you've seen him, he's just fit and in shape, looking like he's in shape better than the average 35-year-old.
Yep.
He's just crushed all the self-defeating talk that he's had. And he realized he has so much more that he thought he had nothing left to do. He had this just regular job, no big thoughts, no big dreams. Again, just going to ride it out till the fucking pine box.
Yeah.
And now he realized how much more he still has. Yeah, he's more than halfway done with his life. There's still 40 fucking years left for him. He's going to make it to 100 the way he's living. He's taken this path of self-improvement and personal development that he used to think, oh, who the fuck would do that? Why would I waste time reading? Why would I do journaling? Why would I talk to other men about my issues? He was just that old school, just drag your knuckles through life and keep it to yourself, suffer in silence. And he's had such a fucking breakthrough. He said he's literally been blessed to be associated with the men that are in the project. He travels as a salesman. I've seen him in all different cities throughout the country, just connecting with guys from different classes that he never even met. He said the first thing he does when he travels to a city on his sales calls is looks up on the file of all the graduates, who's in that town, and he just meets with them, goes to lunch, gets a workout, goes for a run with them, like shit that he never would have done before. He just would have normally gone there to these towns and these cities, sat in his hotel room, all depressed, pissed off at the fucking world, thinking about the president and the masks and all this other shit that was dragging him down. And now he's fucking going on these massive hikes and going to Grand Canyon and all these weird fucking things with all these men that he never would have given a chance to do. And now he's even 61 and just getting fucking better. Like, it's dudes like that inspire me. Those days when you feel a little old, like broken down in your joints, you're like, motherfuckers like that are killing it.
Yeah.
There's actually
Burke.
He came and did a workout at my house. And since I've been in California 4 years, there's a certain exercise, a drill that I do. And I've had at least 60 to 70 graduates of the project come and work out with me in my house on different workouts and events. Not one single person. This includes instructors. This includes the marathon runners can complete this one event. I can't say what it is because you have to show up to find out. This motherfucker showed up. I told him no one did it. And no one did it for 4 years with 70, 80, I don't know, maybe 100 guys have been to my house working out with me. This motherfucker nailed it. First try before even seeing me do it. Fucking nuts. The first one to ever do it. I was even in shock. I knew he was going to he's a dog and he's going to be in the fight. But after seeing some studs, like think about some of the superstars that come through that have crumbled.
We've had athletes, like pro athletes come through.
I'm talking about crumbled on this drill. There are guys that they had to stop 10, 12 times that are just freaks. This motherfucker did it in one shot without stopping. Fucking shocked the fuck out of me. I was like, holy, and he did it. And I did it right after him. I swear, and he was ready to go again sooner than I was. I was like, motherfucker, are you fucking kidding me? I can't even feel my legs because I could do it. I said no visitors get it when they come to my house. I didn't say the host doesn't get it. Let's be fucking clear about that shit.
Be clear.
But I swear, he was ready to go again. I don't know if he was calm, and then we did it again because what am I going to do? But my legs were fucking jello because I did it also. So he went first, waited for me to do it. and he was ready to fucking go already. I was like,
Good for
holy
him.
shit, this
There's a great
crusty
example,
fucking bastard.
like a perfect example of someone who flipped a switch. Like, he decided at 60 years old, I'm not ready to die. I'm not ready to give up. There's a never peak mindset right there. And he flipped a switch and he just keeps getting better beyond 60, man. It's totally possible. Totally possible. All right. And so with that said, guys, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Modern Day Night Project Show. Remember, if you guys want to join us for an upcoming class, click the link in the description box on YouTube, or just look up the Modern Day Night Project, look up Steve, look me up on Instagram, and just hit us up on a DM and we'll let you know how you can apply for an upcoming class. Talk soon.